Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica Nzu, and welcome to Startup Hustle Podcast, where we spotlight innovators, entrepreneurs around Kenya and the whole Africa. And today in our show, I have a very brilliant innovator that I want you guys to get to know what he is doing, who he is, and what challenges he's going through, and also how he has made it to now. So, yes, tell us.
Asante sana Nzuru. My name is Dafford Awino. I am one of the co-founders of EcoPrint Generation. EcoPrint is a social enterprise or green technology. We're in the circular economy sector, and we manufacture 3D printing filaments, and we use these filaments to make STEM models for students. Yeah, I do appreciate you inviting me over here. This is one of the very first podcasts, I will say, in Mombasa to, highlight entrepreneurs' sufferings, I will say.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm super happy to be here.
Oh, you're very much welcome here. And we really, really love to host you here and hoping to know more about what you're doing and how you maneuver around this entrepreneurship ecosystem around Mombasa and also in Kenya. So, can you just tell us who is Dafford? Who is Dafford as a person before we go into the business stuff?
Yeah, Dafford is a very social person outwardly, but I'm very serious with my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also an environmental scientist, an upcoming environmental scientist, and yeah, a social entrepreneur, and a co-founder. I run two businesses, but in
Wow.
this particular podcast, I really want to focus on one.
Yeah.
That is EcoPrint Generation, right?
So we all know that we've also known what Dafford does, and he's a man of many hats. But today we're going to dive in that one business that he's running as Dafford, and he's trying to try to shift the narrative of education to something else. So tell us about EcoPrint's generation.
Yeah, so EcoPrint Generation is a social tech enterprise that manufactures STEM models out of plastic waste, especially marine plastic waste. So we came up with this idea with my colleagues, Gabriel, Chaka, Sham, and Josephine, at a competition that was solving plastic pollution. And one of the things that we looked into and how best we can afford to mitigate plastic pollution is make a value out of it. And one of the biggest problems we're having here in Mombasa is, and not just Mombasa, I think it's all over the country, students lack materials or tools to engage with, especially with STEM subjects. And so you find most students do not have interest or have never developed interest in sciences or STEM subjects such as engineering. And this is because these students are visual learners. You see, remember back in high school, probably backbenchers, and I don't know if you guys had these encounters. Backbenchers would really do well. These guys would really do well with theory subjects, especially with practical subjects, especially with chemistry and biology.
Yeah.
They will score good with these practical lessons, but when it comes to theory, they will do terribly. So I was like, what is wrong? Why are you guys doing better? Why are you guys doing better with practicals and not doing better with
I think probably it's because of the mixing and what in the
yeah,
in the
exactly.
labs.
There is so much mixing, and there's so much to read, and most students actually, you see, and that's why they limit our learning duration to 40 minutes. But 40,
Yeah.
40 minutes, probably in high school, you can't really quite get anything. But also I realized, and research has also revealed this, that most students are visual learners.
True.
They learn while interacting with tools. That way, they get a better sense of what they're learning, and they have a better memory retention of what they're learning if they interact with these tools. And it is these tools, especially for STEM subjects, that are lacking in most schools here in Mombasa, in Kenya. And this is because of there's limited funding for these tools, and they're very much expensive for most schools, especially with those within informal settlements or public schools to afford. So what we came up with at EcoPrint is, why don't you make STEM models out of plastics using 3D printing technology? And the best way to have done it is recycled plastics into filaments. So we collect plastics with our partners, we turn them into pellets and then into filaments. We use these filaments to make STEM educational models for students in public and private schools, especially those underserved schools, those within informal settlements, so that these students can have a better learning tools, learning materials to just develop their interest in STEM subject. Yeah.
That's really impressive. I mean, what I'm trying to grasp here is that you guys are really closing the gap of a lot of things. From plastic waste,
Right.
you're closing the gap of cleaning the environment and like creating awareness about it. And also after that, you're closing the gap of educating these kids on
Right.
how they
Yeah.
can be interested in STEM subjects, especially the younger generation
Yeah.
kids. So I think this is really brilliant, and it's something that I would really love to come and see,
Right. Yeah.
encounter with it, and also how oftenly have you guys come up? How have you guys avoided some challenges in that space? Because I know in every idea or in every business or upcoming business, there is always challenges
Yeah.
because into collecting the plastic, into pellets, to the stem, the stem. The same thing
Models.
is
Yeah.
models. Sorry,
Problem.
the
Yeah.
same models. I know there is some challenges there. In as much as it's a very brilliant idea, but what are the kind of challenges that you guys have faced out there? And also, have people really taken it seriously? Because we all
Yeah.
know people in Mombasa,
Yeah.
yo.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's been a lot of skepticism about locally made stuffs, and it's not just about eco-print, but people tend to prefer things made outside the country than those that are made in locally.
Yeah, true.
And gladly, what we've done is one of the challenges we've faced actually is with in terms of machinery. Yeah, that all entrepreneurs, I would say, and startups coming up, entrepreneurs do have this problem, especially if you're in the manufacturing sector. You have to have the machineries, and these machineries are not locally available, and you have to import them, and they're very expensive. So what we did first with the machinery, because we did not have how to turn the machines to turn plastics into pellets, we had partnership with a recycler in Mombasa that turns plastics on our behalf. We collect and take to them, and they turn them into pellets on our behalf, and then we now pick up these pellets from them, and we have a mini desktop extruder that works perfectly, although it's very limited in terms of production. So we really produce few filaments at a very slow rate. Yeah, so and meeting this demand is also becoming very hectic now that we have lots of inquiries, especially from schools who really need biological models, chemistry models, or even some like this college called KCNP. They
Yeah.
really wanted students to have these models for engineering. And so there's a growing demand of these products. But now to produce them is becoming very hard now that we're limited with this kind of machinery. Someone is calling me.
Okay, so okay.
This is very satanic. Hello? Niko busy. Call me in the next 30 minutes. Ah, God, I had forgotten. Nimeweka. Acha hata niweke inaitwaje? Plain mode.
So we'll continue where we were, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are really big challenges that you guys have tried to face, and also have tried to find solutions on them. But now let us go to the market of it, because there is the reception of how the people have really received whatever you guys
Yeah.
have come up with, especially the people in Mombasa. I want to go to the whole region in Kenya, but let us just focus in Mombasa because it's somewhere I'm very vast with, and how people perceive things is very different in
Yeah. Yeah.
Mombasa.
Yeah.
You know, there's that the slow thingy, and also how people are not even ready, to to adapt new things or new technology.
Yeah.
So how have you guys maneuvered that challenge?
Yeah, you see, but one of the biggest problem we've been having over the decades, if you read this book called Why Nations Fail,
Yeah.
one of the reasons is people are afraid to what we call creative distractions, new technology coming in, and people are trying to embrace it, but there is resistance, especially from the guys who have developed a monopoly in certain sectors, especially for in education in Kenya. In Kenya, we have cartels all over, right?
True.
So you'll always counter this problem. So one of the things that EcoPrint actually done when we were going to the market is we did an awareness and we did a demonstrations with teachers with certain schools on how these models can really change and impact their students in terms of learning and engaging. And so when they see how how these models can transform education, especially understanding of same subject, they developed an interest. And what we did at EcoPrint is also in one of our products, in most of our products, you'll get a QR code that you scan to like give you a tutorial on how to use the models, on how to like maybe guide the students how to use the models. So going to the market was a challenge, especially now that we had certain people who were very resistive in terms of like abducting these tools to their curriculum. And talking of curriculum, some of them did not conform also to the current CBC curriculum. And so we had to go to the drawing board and
I
look.
think it's CBE.
Yeah, it's CBE. Yeah, this government is never changing this stuff. So
The
it's
government is
CBE,
confusing us.
competency-based education, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, and this idea came at the
At the
right
right time.
moment
Yeah.
when now they were introducing competency based education so that students can interact with tools. They can learn by doing.
Yeah.
And so EcoPrint came at a very right time, despite the challenges that we had faced in terms of the machinery, in terms of funding, in terms of getting into the market. Yeah, right. But I can say we've successfully tried our products with certain users and they have adopted. One of them is called IREX. IREX, I don't know if you guys know IREX. It's
I think I've interacted with them
yeah,
in the
yeah.
LinkedIn.
So IREX actually bought a bunch of our biological tools for actually students with impaired vision, right? And you know, in Kenya, I heard, and I think it's there, that most students with disabilities, especially with the visual impaired, are not allowed to pursue STEM subjects, especially like chemistry, because they have to do like those practicals,
Yeah.
and maybe and apparently they cannot interact with them because they cannot see. But we designed these specifically suitable for children with that are visually impaired, so that they can also engage with things like biology and this chemistry, right? Just like how Braille works, it's how our models also work, right? Yeah.
True. I think you mentioned about how your machine cannot produce a
Yeah.
lot of models. I think there's a problem there also. I think,
Big one.
yeah, maybe funding or something like that. And how do you guys go about it as EcoPrints?
Yeah, EcoPrint actually started with not so much funding. Most of the fundings that we started with, I mean, the capital we started with was generated from the co-founders themselves contributions.
Sure.
And so far, I will say we use most of our revenues for internal operations of the business. We really don't, in as much as we really want to get these fundings outside angel investors, capital investors to come in. We're still navigating that through, but majorly our revenues it's what sustains EcoPrint at the moment, but we are very open for more funding if people can come in and fund EcoPrint generation so that we can scale beyond Kenya, beyond Africa. We want to like have adoption of 3D printing technology and produce quality filaments out of recycled plastic so that we can also mitigate these plastic pollutions here in Mombasa, in the rest of the country, beyond Africa, so that quality education does not become a privilege, it becomes a right. Our constitution actually provides access to quality education, which I will say the government is not really trying to achieve, looking at how they're funding education, and they're scrapping a lot of funding for educative initiatives such as EcoPrint. So if we get funding, it can produce more filament, especially with the extruder machine that we want.
Yeah.
It can produce up to 50 kilograms of filaments in a day. And with these filaments, you can produce more sets of filaments, more than 500 sets of filaments in a day. That is with more 3D printers, so that we can reach more schools, more students get to engage with these models. We have an increase in uptake of STEM subject, because the future of this country and the future of Africa relies on students who have skills, technical skills, who can innovate, who can design, who can critically think to build the country that you want, the continent that these leaders keep on talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I think you have a very big point there, and it's really something that is impressive as young people trying to bootstrap yourself so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
can keep this innovation going. So I won't call you guys like a business. I'll just say it's just a startup.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
startup. Most definitely, it's a
Yeah,
startup.
and whoever is watching this and wants really to fund them or wants to chip in or wants to interact with EcoPrint Generation, I think they can go to their social media platforms at EcoPrint Generation
Yeah.
and look at what they're doing and see how much young people are really putting themselves out there so that they can make ends meet and also they can drive us to a sustainable future, right?
Most
Yeah.
def, yeah.
So I think that's really incredible, Dafford.
Thank you
So
very
let me
much.
just dive into your personality as Dafford before we even wind up this session.
Yeah, right.
Because I think we've really talked about the EcoPrint generation, what it does, which is really impressive. But again, as you're a very young person, and I think you are a recent graduate, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you really cope up with all these things, being a young startup or being a young innovator, entrepreneur, and also you have to sustain yourself as a person,
Yeah.
and also you have got your own hobbies and other things that you always do as a
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
So how do you go about that?
Yeah, entrepreneurship can be very stressful.
Yeah.
Especially when you guys are starting and you do not have enough fund to scale it. It can be very stressful. So what I normally do, my personality, I'm very outgoing. I'm a very social being. Very social, and my friends love it for me for that. And I think I also speak my mind,
Yeah.
regardless of consequences that may follow. I mean, we are in a very free world. Although right now we are not very free. The freedom of expression is being tried to
True.
suppressed in some way, and that is my thing. I speak what I think is right, and I say it without filters. That is one. That is, people tend to disagree. Yeah, you have to disagree. It's constitutionally provided in the
Yeah.
constitution that you have your freedom of thoughts, of opinion, and
Yeah.
beliefs, and you can always disagree. You can always disagree. You can always disagree to agree, or you can fail to do any. My hobbies, I love biking, and recently I started gymming. So I'm enrolled.
Okay.
Now, many of my friends are mocking me for enrolling in a gym, but I find it's a very good thing. I'm trying to like work out, gain some muscles out there.
As long as it satisfies you,
Yeah,
it's okay.
it's
It's
as long as
fine. Yeah.
it's conforms with what I want to do. It's super fun, and I love banters. I love banters. I engage a lot in lots of banters, although people tend not to identify what's when I'm doing the banting.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're
Yeah,
serious.
and there's a lot of fights normally comes out verbally though, but it's never serious. It's just with my friends, and yeah. So I also do read books a lot, especially on philosophy, psychology. and business. Those are what keeps me actually going and getting off this entrepreneurship stuff over the weekends. I engage a lot on those. Yeah.
Sure, that's really incredible. So I think we've had a lot from you, had a lot from Dafford. Where can you find Dafford?
Yeah, you guys can find me at Ratna Square every single day from Monday to Friday. On Saturday, on a half day. Ratna Square is based nearly a long way along Fidel Odinga Road. So you go
Okay.
there, just ask for Dafford or ask for EcoPrint at Close the Gap. You'll always find us there.
So you've talked a lot about digitization. So where can we find you? What are you telling my people from, I don't know, Sudan or where?
Yeah, so you guys, people from Sudan or anywhere from this continent, you guys can find us on social media. Dafford Awino, all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Dafford Awino.
Yeah, that's
Right.
really
Yeah.
incredible. So I think one last word for the people listening to you, the people watching this episode. What are you telling the young people who are out there who are yet to start this journey?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the one message that you want to take?
So one thing I want to tell young people out there is the value of your education is to make use of it. Come up with something. Start with what you are, with what you have, where you are, and just start. There is never, don't give excuses that you are waiting for the government to give you jobs or you are waiting for this government to take you somewhere in Saudi Arabia to be chopped off. Start with what you have.
Yeah.
Start with what you have and be consistent. Consistency always pays. If you fail to be consistent, you will fail to thrive. Yeah.
That's a really, really loud message. I think all the people who have listened to this session are really taking that into consideration. And thank you very much, Dafford, for being with
Thank you,
us
Zoe.
here.
Thank you,
And
Zoe.
thank you very much for sharing your insightful journey with us. And it has been a very incredible moment sharing all these things together.
Right. Yeah.
And for the people out there, this is our second episode as Startup Hustle Podcast. And as you all know that Startup Hustle Podcast is powered by Swahili Design Lab. So do not forget to follow us on our all social media platforms at Swahili Design Lab and at Startup Hustle Podcast. See you in our next episode. And I'll always be your host, Veronica Nzo.